A major jolt to last mile commuters in Karnataka. Ride-hailing platform Rapido has suspended its bike taxi services across the state starting today, that being 16th of June. The move comes after a directive from the Karnataka High Court which ordered that all bike taxi operations in the state be halted forthwith. In an in-app notification to users, Rapido said it's pausing operations in compliance with the court order. Instead of the familiar bike taxi option, users now see a bike parcel service on the app. The company said, and I'm quoting, "This is a challenging moment for our captains for whom this service is a primary source of income." Rapido also added that it is actively exploring other ways to support its gig workers while remaining hopeful that dialogue with the government shall lead to a viable long-term framework for bike taxis similar to what exists in many other states in India. This suspension follows a High Court ruling earlier this year. The court had dismissed petitions from mobility platforms like Rapido, Ola and Uber, citing a 2019 expert panel report that flagged concerns over traffic safety and regulation of bike taxis. The court made it very clear, unless the Karnataka government frames proper rules under the Motor Vehicles Act, aggregators cannot operate bike taxis and the Transport Department cannot register motorcycles as commercial transport vehicles. In April, the court gave aggregators till 15th of June to wind down operations. Meanwhile, industry body NASSCOM has stepped in, urging Transport Minister Ramalinga Reddy to extend the deadline and initiate consultations to avoid what it calls large-scale livelihood disruptions. Experts feel government's reluctance to allow private mobility services is a disservice to the public. It is also important to note that Rapido fills a crucial gap in the transport ecosystem, especially in low-income users and daily commuters, offering an affordable and time-saving alternative. As it stands, Karnataka's commuters are caught in the middle. Is this the end of bike taxis in the state or just a pause before policy catches up with the people's needs? And to speak more on this, Muralidhar Rao, who's a mobility expert, is joining us, and Rahim Shastri, co-founder and CEO of DriveView. A very, very warm welcome to both of you. Namaskara. Muralidhar Rao, let me come to you first, sir. I think the ball is in the government's court. Why do you think is the government so reluctant to even move the needle on this issue, considering that the public transport system in Karnataka, let's talk about Bengaluru, is in a complete shambles. We know the hell people have to go through when it comes to buses. We know what Metro has done. The ridership has come down regularly. The roads are in very bad shape. So, Muralidhar Rao, do you think that the ball is in the government's court and therefore the reluctance and therefore this fallout, as it were?
Very much, the ball is very much in the government's court. The government wants to try and palm off the blame on the judiciary, but the judiciary is not the problem. It is the government rules and regulations and laws which restrict all kinds of these operations. Now, even as of now, right now, I have a caregiver attending to my mother-in-law who is 84 and ailing, okay, and she commutes by Rapido, and she finds it the most affordable, most safe, and reliable as compared to a BMTC or anything like that. And likewise, my son has a child, just 1.5 years old, to take care of that. He has a caregiver too, a maid. When she has to go to meet her folks on the outskirts of the city, okay, during the weekends, she engages Rapido, and she finds it the most feasible option compared to a BMTC. Now, Rapido is as organized as say a Uber or any other organization. And today, earlier you may have said that it is not very safe. Today, it is as safe as any Uber or Ola or any public transport.
Is the state so reluctant, Mr. Rao? Why do you think is the government so reluctant, Mr. Rao? What is the reason?
I think they are pandering to the auto lobby. That's plainly, I see that as the only reason. This has been going on for too long.
Right.
And I mean, in fact, at least if there are good bus services. Now there again, there is this BMTC monopoly, and they are not allowing
All right.
even
All
even
right.
services like Zipgo. Earlier there was one. Now in Mumbai and other places there are
Well,
shuttle and such services. They
the
are not
say,
allowing that,
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that they are affecting the revenue interests of
Mr. Rao, you
BMTC. Now,
said that perhaps the government is bending down to the auto rickshaw lobby in
yes,
Goa. It is a taxi mafia. No
yes,
aggregator has been allowed. This is the
yes.
situation. But let me come back to you, Mr. Ram Shastri. Let me come to you. Mr. Ram Shastri, I want to play the devil's advocate. They say there has to be adherence to certain rules and regulations. Tomorrow, you and I who go by this bike taxi will be the first person if rules are flouted. Safety rules. Do they have the right licenses or not? Are they adhering to all the rules and regulations in section 93 or not? What is the way out, Ram Shastri, or do you think that they are biased, the government is biased against bike taxis?
Well, like you, I saw the banner where you said Goa as the first state is providing bike taxi, which has been regularized using yellow license plates, right? So if we can do the same thing in Bangalore, that will help a lot. I mean, that will also he can generate income for the government, can make some money. At the same time, there are certain rules and regulations can be make sure that the bike taxi pilots, as they call them, they are following, right? That can be done. And honestly, bike taxi is pretty safe. It's a very safe system with the
No,
technology.
sir, I agree what Mr. Muralidhar Rao is saying. I also agree with you. You are the co-founder and CEO of DriveU. You say they are safe. But then everything has a rule. There has to be a charter of rules under which tomorrow if I open a restaurant or takeaway, I have to adhere to some rules, sir. You may say, no, she's very safe. She cooks at home. It's very, very tasty and it is very safe to eat. But there are rules. This is public service, sir. What do you think is stopping the Karnataka government in saying, okay, let's sit across the table. You had interim relief. 15th was the deadline. You have flouted it. The court has said off the road on the 16th. But in the interim, they had time to formulate these rules and regulations. Why did they not do it?
I think it's just the standard lethargy in the government. Somebody has to take the, saying, okay, let's go with the technology that we have today. Let's make sure that we use the best of the technology to make sure it ensure the commuters and the riders are safe. It can be done. We do it at DriveU every day, right? Our drivers, we are not a bike taxi service, but our drivers, partners, use bike taxis to go from point A to point B in the city. It's the fastest way to go. And the other gentleman said, going to public transportation takes time. Our drivers make money only when they are driving the customer's car, so they can go from point A to point B very rapidly with bike taxi. Bike taxis take less space on the road. They can run faster, and they are fuel efficient. So all the benefits that it has, it should be done. I mean, they could even maybe push EV bikes only. That's
Right.
another thing they can do. Okay, we'll
Right.
do EV bikes, we can reduce pollution.
True. And Bengaluru has been facing it. We saw what happened in the Kabban Park issue. Gentlemen, do stay on the debate. I'll come back to you in a minute. Meanwhile, my colleague, Mohammad Wajiullah, spoke to Mohammad Salim, who's the president of Namma Bike Taxi Association. Just listen in to yet another view.
Joining me is Mohammad Salim. He's the president of Namma Bike Taxi Association and one of the few associations who've written a letter to Rahul Gandhi to look into the issue of bike taxis that is happening in Karnataka. Sir, पहले मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है, my question to you is with regards to what is your take on this rule by the High Court that gig workers will not be plying on the bike taxi gig workers will not be plying on the road from today.
So this is actually like बताना क्या चाह रहे हैं ये गवर्नमेंट एक्चुअली वी पीपल आर आल्सो लाइक गिग वर्कर्स किसी लिए बोलते हैं when we don't get a proper job or something like that, like example, you take my example, I'm a graphic designer, okay. What happened? Why did I go to this field? I'm a bike taxi rider now. When COVID came, I lost everything. I don't know. I didn't have any other option, so I came to. I say कि बहुत सारे लोग आके से आ रहे हैं. ये gig workers बोला तो यही है. जिनको काम नहीं मिलता, जिनको नॉर्मल अर्निंग नहीं कर सकते, ऑफिस में बैठ के कमा नहीं सकते हैं ना, उन लोगों को गिग वर्कर्स बोलते हैं. The thing is, they are not interested in forming any rules and regulations itself. We are ready to accept the rules and regulations of this government actually. We also need a chance, sir. We deserve a chance.
So that's the other voice that, you know, these are gig workers. Look at that man. He was a graphic designer. I mean, this is brilliant. I mean, a man who finds employment. Let me go to Muralidhar Rao, who is a mobility expert, and Ram Shastri, co-founder and CEO of DriveU. You know, Muralidhar Rao, you spoke about how in your house, you know, people take bike taxis because they are affordable. I've been reading reports since morning. Most students say the same thing. People who are working from Tipasandra to Indranagar, people travel by bike taxis. Otherwise, their budgets have now gone, they have doubled, actually more than, it's become 2.5 for 1 rupee. That's how bad it is. Then there is an issue of employment, that people are losing employment. They are back to being unemployed, you know, after the pandemic. And in all this, like what Mr. Shastri said, that there seems to be a lethargic kind of attitude of the government. You attribute it to the auto drivers, but the point is also another view. Bengaluru's infrastructure has now gone from normal to subnormal. There are no roads, there are pothole deaths every day. No one cares about it. And the point is, if there are more bike taxis on its road, the burden will be even more. So therefore, the reluctance. Do you agree with this kind of reasoning or not, Mr. Rao?
Absolutely not. Okay. And if I mean, again, I would like to point out, I mean, the government is trying to put the blame on the court. The court doesn't make rules and regulations and laws, and it is the legislature which has to do it, and they are not doing it because of all kinds of, they are part of a lobby, they are part of this thing, I mean, they are pandering to various lobbies, etc. If you are talking about, following rules, etc., now I have been pressing for better bus services. And this monopoly of BMTC should go. They have only 6,000 buses. There are 50,000 buses on roads, but they are not being allowed to operate as regular bus services under the Contract Carriage Act. Okay. Now these are the kind of nonsense that the government is doing to retain the monopoly of, retain their hold on these operations of theirs. Where they are, it's a lobby. I would like to, there's a, proper name for it, but I will call it just a lobby. Now, if you're talking about rules and following rules and regulations, now under right to information, I filed a query about the insurance, third-party insurance of KSRTC, how much they comply. I got a proper reply saying that only 34% of KSRTC buses are registered under third-party insurance. That is a total violation of the MV Act. The same.
So you are saying there is hypocrisy. So basically, Mr.
Pardon?
Rao, you are saying it's a hypocrisy, about
yes,
rules and regulation.
All of government organizations, whether it is BMTC, BWSSB, BESCOM,
BBMP.
all of them are flying, all of them are violating all kinds of rules. All of BMTC's, these new electric buses, 4,000 buses, etc., the drivers are all on contract. They're all from outside the state.
Okay.
No, they are just not following any rules and regulations. When it is
Mr.
government,
Shastri,
they can violate rules left, right, and center, and then they impose all kinds of unnecessary burdens on the proper service providers. These are, the Rapido, etc., are the actual service providers. These BMTC, BESCOM, etc., are all mafia organizations. That's precisely it. And unfortunately, government is pandering to all of that. It is most unfortunate. I have filed PILs to throw out BESCOM. I'll file a PIL to throw out the monopoly of BMTC also. Maybe I'll file another PIL to liberate uh, services like Rapido and others. I think that is what is required. We need to go all out, and I mean, the citizens should start demanding. We should not start requesting. We should start demanding. It is unfortunate that this government can't respond to the citizens' needs, and they're just pandering to all kinds of lobbies and mafia. That is exactly what the problem
Okay.
is. It
Mr.
is
Shah.
cruel.
Yeah.
That is what I will say. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Shah, very strong words there by Mr. Muralidhar Rao. Ram Shastri, what will be the impact of it? Today it's off, the roads. Now tomorrow, day after, as we go, how do you see in 3 points or maybe less, whatever you wish to, what will be the impact of it on commuters, considering you are the co-founder and CEO of Drive User?
Right. If you look at it, right, we have, Bangalore is building a nice metro network around the Bangalore.
Right.
The thing is, the last mile connectivity is missing. So I can go one point, from there I have to get to some other place, 1 or 2 kilometers away or 3 kilometers away. Bike taxi is the most efficient way of getting there. They can go from the metro stop and take you wherever you want it to go. Otherwise, you cannot go. Okay, now you have to start looking for other vehicles. So metro transportation also will get affected if you don't have a last mile connectivity. There are so many things wrong. This is all connected together is what makes things to run in a metro, right? You need to have buses, you need to have metro, you need to have cabs, you need to have bike taxis, you need to have auto rickshaws, and you need to have cars like the drive supports. So all comes together, depending on what the needs of the public is. Now we are missing one important aspect of it, and I believe this is going to create a lot of problem for a lot of people, and they'll spend more money, like you said. They'll spend more money for going from point A to point B today than it was yesterday. It's very unfortunate.
And they're saying that now Bengaluru is carpooling, and they're saying that it's a good idea. But then all I heard from experts was keep the cars off the road, take public transport. So look at it, Mr. Shastri. This is like a catch-22 for everybody who lives in Bengaluru. I'm not supposed to carpool. I can't take a bike taxi. The buses, like Mr. Rao says, is in a terrible state. Metros, we know the sad to very sad situation. What is the way out then? I mean, I spend more, but I'm also kind of, impacted majorly, Mr. Shastri.
Well, I think the government hopefully will reconsider and come back with the policy, like I mentioned, organize it and make it a commercial vehicle, two-wheeler, and make sure that they follow certain rules and put it back on the road. This just doesn't make sense.
Do you have hope
No,
that
madam, I had said,
Go ahead, sir.
apart from BMTC's 6,000 buses, there are 50,000 buses on Bangalore roads already, but they are not allowed to operate as proper bus services. They're all licensed as contract carriages. Now, what is government, if they are allowed to operate as regular bus services, the problem will be solved the traffic problem will be solved to a great extent. And the Rapido will be used largely for short distance rides. Yes, the last mile connectivity. Yes, they are providing a very necessary service. Okay, however much you may, provide bus services or metro services, etc., the last mile connectivity can most efficiently be provided by bikes, and they are today safe. I have been talking to my mates and my caregivers, and this is they find it very safe and
the government, you think the government, like Mr. Shastri says, Mr. Rao, do you think the government is going to do something and pull back on this decision? Because all I hear is that please get them back on the roads.
They should. Otherwise, we should agitate. We should. I can go to judiciary if anybody is organizing a protest. I will join the protest, certainly. This cannot be tolerated. The government has been getting away with nonsense for too long, and it is time people started demanding that they govern rather than impose all kinds of things on the
All
people.
right.
Yes,
Okay. A lot of
this is
recommendations
getting going
there.
too far.
Going
This is
too
not
far.
governance. They want to
Yes.
rule everybody. This is dictatorship.
All right.
This is
Very
not
strong
tolerable.
words indeed. You know, dictatorship, they should pull back.
Yes.
This is ridiculous. And that's all we have time for. And I hope the government can sit across the table and try and find a solution to get those bike taxis roaring on the streets of Bengaluru.